Hello and welcome back to Helldivers, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about all the new weapons that were just added with this most recent Warbond. So we have one new grenade, one new booster, one new secondary weapon, and 3 new primary weapons. So let's begin by talking about each of the weapons. The very first thing we'll talk about is the new grenade, which is the G123 Thermite Grenade, which is a sticky grenade, and it is supposed to burn enemies, melt them, and then explode and deal like fire damage to enemies. This one I'm gonna just straight up assume is bugged, because every time I've tried to use it, it's felt very awkward. It can work like a regular sticky grenade for blowing up certain things. You can still blow up bug tunnels, you can blow up machine factories with it, although they are very difficult to blow up the automaton factories with those, because they do stick. They're similar to the impact grenades, where they're just very awkward in that role. So I don't like using them there. For the bug tunnels, they're fine so long as you throw them further down the bug tunnel. They'll blow up and break them. They do take a little while to go off, but that's okay. And then against bugs and against bots, these ones just seem inconsistent and very weird. Sometimes they do a lot of damage, because I have seen them just like take the head off of a Titan before, and I've seen them take the head off of a Charger, which is one of these. But most of the time they don't. You can throw like all 6 of them that you could have with you on a Charger and not kill it, and it still have a lot of health left. So I don't know what causes that. Same thing goes with some of the bigger bots. I've thrown like 3 of these onto a Hulk and killed it. I've thrown just 1 of these onto a Hulk and it's done almost nothing. I've thrown all like 6 of these onto a Hulk and it's done almost nothing. So it really seems to vary, and I think the grenade is either bugged or very finicky with how it's hitting enemies. It also doesn't melt armor, although I have heard that, but I haven't seen it actually pull armor off of anything. I don't know why it wouldn't, since it is supposed to be the thermite grenade. I think that would be something that would be really cool. But I'm just going to assume the thermite grenade is bugged right now. It's not really worth taking at the moment, but if it does get fixed in the future, or becomes more consistent in the future, it might be a grenade that I would consider, because it does look really cool. The very first weapon that you can get unlocked is the new BR-14 Adjudicator. This is a new marksman's rifle. However, this is the only marksman's rifle that can be switched to full auto. This weapon I think is one of the best that actually came from this, because right now I think it's honestly the best in slot for like an assault rifle, a submachine gun, or a marksman's rifle. Since it has medium armor pen on it, it has a large enough magazine, it can be full auto. The only kind of downside is that it only has the 6 magazines in total, so you can run through ammo pretty quick, but it still punches through just about everything really well. You can kill bugs really fast with this, even the medium bugs, since you don't need to be aiming for weak spots with them. Even for like the hive guards that have the heavy armor, you can just shoot them right through the head and kill them with this. You can still use this at pretty long range. It's got a nice scope on it. It does really well against the bots. You can kill any of the medium bots fairly fast with it. You can kill any of the small bots with just 1 shot from it. So I would say the Adjudicator is actually a fantastic weapon right now. Weirdly enough, I've heard that it's one of the weaker weapons from this, but I honestly don't think so. I think it's one of the best weapons that we've actually gotten from this particular Warbond. It's by far the most consistent out of any of the weapons. Beyond that, after page 1, on to our second page, we have a new booster that we can talk about really quick, which is called the Expert Extraction Pilot. This one just makes it so whenever you do get to the extraction, your pilot will come in faster. I believe this is by 20% or it's by 20 seconds. It's one of the two, which can be useful on certain mission types. On certain other mission types, you won't really care, because if it's like defend the area for so long mission, then the pod comes at the end anyway. You're not really going to care about those extra seconds. It can be useful, though, if you find yourself not getting to the extraction early enough, and you find yourself not getting a whole lot of samples and you want to get more of them. If you have maxed out samples, then you're probably never going to take this booster. I don't think it's one of the stronger boosters, but I don't think it's terrible or anything either. Then we've got the new R36 Eruptor. This is an explosive rifle that is very strange. This is a bolt-action sort of sniper rifle that has explosive rounds that count as fragmentation rounds whenever they actually do explode. They'll explode upon hit. Sometimes they'll explode upon hit on the ground, other times they'll just bounce off the ground. I don't know what causes that. I'm not sure if it's just the angle at which they hit, as to if they are more likely to bounce or not. Once they do explode, fragmentation rounds go kind of everywhere, and they can do a lot of damage. They can actually be really good for crowds. They can kill any of the medium bugs and any of the medium bots with 1 shot. You can also kill multiple small bugs and multiple small bots with just 1 shot from this weapon as well. You can kill the big bots actually quite fast as well with this, because of how much damage it does. I do wish that this one would get a sound buff, though. It doesn't sound very strong for it being like an explosive rifle, and you could explain that with it's supposed to be rocket rounds, so they don't make that much noise, but I still wish this had a punchier sound effect than it actually does. This weapon can cause friendly fire damage pretty easily to both your teammates and you, and right now I think explosives are bugged. I don't think they're supposed to be working the way that they are, where a lot of the time they'll suck you towards wherever they exploded at. Why that is, I don't know, but that seems to be happening. The bolt action on this is really slow. It's not very fast at all. It feels really awkward to me. because the most effective way that I found to use this is just fire one shot, run somewhere while my person is cycling the bolt, fire another shot, continue on. This also has more muzzle drift than any of the other weapons, so it takes longer to get onto target than like anything else in the game. Some of the weapons like the HMG are similar to this in the amount of time that it takes for you to actually transition, but it's very awkward to be using the Eruptor right now. Can be really strong against bots, can be really strong against bugs, but I don't think more than one person should be having this on your team, and if they do have it, then they should be like the designated marksman. You definitely want to have like the submachine gun as a secondary for you with this one. This does have explosive damage on it, so you can open up different things, like you can open up crates, and you can collapse tunnels with it. That's pretty good. This also has a scope that you can adjust, so you can adjust it all the way up to 200 meters, which is kind of weird, because the explosive goes off after like 120 or 125 meters. So I don't know why you would need a 200 meter scope on this to see that far if your rifle round can't actually go that far before it just air bursts itself. That also makes the Eruptor a little bit awkward compared to something like the anti-material rifle, where that one doesn't really have limited range. This one does. Although this one is a primary weapon and it is our only primary explosive weapon. The explosive on it can actually be pretty useful against certain enemy types too, because you can pop the stomachs of the Bile Titans. You can also 3-shot chargers with the new Eruptor too, if you hit them in the back. It's really slow to kill them though, because you usually only get one shot before the charger has to charge again. You have to run around the side and then you have to wait for the full gun to swing around and then shoot them again. So it's not going to kill super quick in the time to kill. It's really awkward to run around with. Yeah, the Eruptor is just a weird one. I can understand people liking it, but it's probably not going to be a weapon I go for too often. Then we've got our final two weapons, where we have the grenade pistol, which is our new secondary weapon. Grenade pistol is kind of weird. It has a red dot sign on it for some odd reason. This does have drop, just like the grenade launcher. It feels very similar to the grenade launcher, just a single shot grenade launcher, with the exception of when you first get it, because it's bugged right now to where you have 2 shots in it before you need to reload. That'll probably be fixed in the future, but right now the grenade pistol is a little bit stronger than it probably will be. The grenade pistol also picks up less ammo than other secondary or primary, where it refills the same way grenades do. So you're not going to get very many. You get 2 back every time that you get a regular ammo box. You get 4 back every time you get a resupply box, I believe. So not the most, but that's not terribly bad. My main idea with the grenade pistol was just to use it as a secondary option to just close bug tunnels and then probably take my primary for fighting off everything else. I could pair it with a machine gun as well for like my special weapon, and that felt pretty decent. Grenade pistol doesn't pair very well with the new weapons besides the Adjudicator. It actually pairs fairly well with that one, but the Crossbow and the Eruptor, not so much. I wouldn't really recommend that. I recommend like the submachine gun for those weapons. The grenade pistol can collapse tunnels and it can collapse spot structures, which is pretty cool. You can one-shot the spewers, the regular spewers, the nursing spewers you can kill with 1 shot. The acid spewers, though, those ones usually take 2 shots from the grenade pistol. Sometimes I could get them in 1, but I don't know if they were hurt before that, so I was usually getting them in 2. 2 shots were generally the more consistent time that I would be killing them. So that makes this a little bit awkward. You can one-shot the medium bots as long as you hit them in the head with this. That's a little bit awkward just because of the drop from it. You can also one-shot some of the medium bugs with this. If you hit them in a weak spot, it can kill multiple small bugs. You can blow yourself up with a grenade pistol pretty easily though, so be careful about that. You can also blow up your teammates really easy. Grenade pistol, I think, is going to have a niche just for having as a secondary so that you can collapse bug tunnels quickly. If you want to rush those missions or if you want to pop eggs fast, the grenade pistol is pretty good for that. I don't know how much you'll see it after a couple of weeks once people have tried it out quite a bit. We'll have to wait and see, because I could still see this one being useful, but maybe everybody will just switch back to the submachine gun again or the revolver. And then our very last weapon is the CB9 explosive crossbow. This one's fun. I don't think it's very good though. This one is really fun though. Where this one is an explosive crossbow, it kind of has all the stats that you would think of with a crossbow where it does really high damage. This one is a repeating crossbow, so you can shoot multiple bolts out of it fairly fast. It does have a long reload though. It's not a really quick reload at all. It does have like a red dot sight on it, which is okay as well if you want to be using that. The crossbow bolts do have travel time and they also have drop. The Eruptor rifle also has that, which is a little bit weird, at least in terms of travel time. I don't think it has drop, but the exploding crossbow bolts do drop. And that makes them really awkward to use, because the explosive crossbow can actually do a lot of damage, because this can one-shot any of the medium bots if you hit them in the head. It's just really difficult to hit the medium bots in the head when they're moving. Their hitbox is kind of small, and they're probably going to be shooting back at you, as well as you're probably going to be moving as well, and you have to take into account your crossbow bolt traveling that far and dropping at that distance. So it's really awkward to fight medium bots with this. It can one-shot any of the small bots even if you just hit near them with it. That's pretty cool. Same with any of the small bugs you can one-shot. You can actually splash this to quite a few of them. Medium bugs, I don't think it can kill any of them besides the warriors if you hit them in the head. Everything else I think is going to take you multiple shots, especially like the brood commanders where it's going to take you like 3 to 4 shots to the head to kill them. Or just to take their head off, so then they'll die from the bleed out from that. This doesn't do incredibly well against Titans or Chargers either, because it can't do much there. The explosive crossbow also, for whatever reason, cannot collapse tunnels, and it can't collapse bot structures, which is really bad. I don't know why that's not in this. And yeah, this is just going to be a really awkward weapon where I think it can be good if you are willing to put in the time to get good with it. But I really don't think it's going to be worth the investment to do that compared to other weapons in this game where you could just use them and be better. It's not a terrible option if you just want to be using this as like an improvised grenade launcher, because it kind of fits that role. It's just it's a slower, more difficult to use grenade launcher than the regular grenade launcher is in game. I did really like the crossbow. Crossbow is pretty cool, but I don't think it's a very strong weapon right now. Tell me your thoughts on the new weapons in the new Warbond down in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Hope you guys are having fun out there with Helldivers. I'm really liking the new mission too. The defend the area missions are really fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. Hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.